So we had discussed in the last class about fertilization, how fertilization happens with the help of the gamete formations and how does it happens, and pollination, cross pollination or self pollination, how does it happens. So what are the changes that happens after fertilization? The calyx and the corolla wither and fall off, and so do the stamens. So the calyx, corolla and the stamens fall off, and the ovary turns into a fruit. The embryo turns into a seed. Once the seed becomes mature, fruit dries up, and so that the dispersal of seeds can take place. So the calyx, the first is the calyx, corolla and the stamen fall off, and the ovary turns into a fruit, and the embryo turns into the seed. Once the seeds become mature, fruit dries up so that the dispersal of seeds can take place. Structure of a seed. A seed contains an embryo, some reserve food, and is enclosed by a protective covering called seed coat. So what does the seed contain? Seed contains an embryo, some reserve food, and it is covered by a protective covering known as the seed coat. The reserve food is stored in the cotyledons. The embryo has two pointed parts. The upper part is called the plumule, which gives rise to the shoot system, and the lower part is called the radicle, which gives rise to the root system. Cotyledons supply foods when the embryo needs it during germination. Seed germination is the process by which the embryo in the seed kick-starts a new life. So what happens basically is the structure of the seed we have discussed. It is covered by a seed coat, a hard layer seed coat. It has some reserve food and has a embryo. So what happens is the reserve food is stored in the cotyledons, and the embryo has two pointed parts. The upper part is called the plumule, and the lower part is known as the shoot system, which gives the upper part is called the plumule, which gives rise to the shoot system, and the lower part is called the radicle, which gives rise to the root system. So the upper part gives rise to the shoot system, that is herbs and shrubs, and lower part gives rise to the root system. Okay. Now, reproduction in human beings. Puberty. Human beings are complex animals, and hence there is a distinct phase in their life cycle which marks the onset and attainment of sexual maturity. This period is called puberty. It usually starts at around 10 to 11 years of age in girls, and at around 12 to 13 years of age in boys. It usually ends at around 18 years of age in girls and at around 19 years of age in boys. Since the years during puberty end in teens, hence this phase is known as teenage. So human beings, the reproduction cycle or the reproduction phase starts different for male and female. For girls, it basically, for females, it starts from 10 years, 10 to 11 years, and from boys it starts from 12 to 13 years. For girls it ends by 18th year, and boys it ends by 19th year. Changes in boys during puberty. The boys suddenly grow in height dramatically. Voice becomes deep and Adam's apple becomes prominent. Shoulders become broad and body becomes muscular. Facial hairs begins to grow, and hairs also grow under the armpit and in pubic region. So changes in girls during puberty: the voice become thin, shoulders and hip become rounded, breast get enlarged, hair grows under the armpit and in the pubic region. So these are few of the changes that happens in both male and female during puberty. Sexual dimorphism. The physical dissimilarities in the male and female of a species which gives them different appearances called sexual dimorphism. The differences in the appearances. The differences in the appearance or differences in the physical appearances or physical dissimilarities is known as sexual dimorphism. Secondary sexual characters. Features which highlight secondary dimorphism are known as secondary sexual characters. Male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is in human beings is composed of following parts: testes, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, and penis. There is a pair of testes which lie in a skin pouch known as scrotum. Scrotum is suspended outside the body below the abdominal cavity, and this helps in maintaining the temperature of the testes below the body temperature. So the function of scrotum is to maintain the body temperature of the the function of scrotum is to protect the testes, and the function of testes is to maintain the body temperature. This is necessary for optimum sperm production. Testes primarily serves the function of sperm reproduction. Sperms are the male gametes. Apart from these, testes also produce testosterone. Testosterone is also called the male hormone and is responsible for developing certain secondary sexual characters in boys. So we have already discussed about at the end of the puberty, during the puberty stage, what happened, the physical appearances in male and female, what are the changes and what are the appearances that happen, and what are the different male reproductive organs. Male reproductive organs are testes. There is a pair of testes which lie in the skin called skin pouch called scrotum. Scrotum is the suspended outside the body and below the abdominal cavity. It helps in maintaining the temperature of the testes below their body temperature. So this is necessary for optimum sperm reproduction, and also helps in the formation of the sperms, and that is the male gametes. And apart from these, testes also produces testosterone, which is the male hormone. Vas deferens. Vas deferens is the tube which carries sperms to the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle, this is the place where the sperms are stored, and secretions of the seminal vesicle and prostate gland add up to make the semen. And penis. Penis, it is the muscular organ that serves the genital urinary functions. The urethra works as a common passage for urine as well as for the sperms. So in the next class, we'll start with female reproductive system.